Hello and good day, meteorologist Mike Adcock here. It's the 15th of March and we're continuing to track Tropical Storm Bavi as it passes through the Mariana Islands. Take a look at satellite imagery here. Do see that deep convection rolling across Tinian and Saipan this evening. This is being displaced off to the northwest of the center of circulation thanks to some strong southerly wind shear. Now this is being reflected in the Dvorak analyses here, noting a displacement of about 60 miles. So that results in a data T of 2.5. Bottom line, not seeing a significant change in strength from what we really saw this time yesterday. Here's the latest information from JMA as of 7 p.m. Tomorrow Standard Time. Center of circulation 65 kilometers to the south-southeast of Tinian, or 75 kilometers south-southeast of Saipan. It is moving off to the west at 31 kilometers per hour. Winds currently sustained at 85 kilometers per hour with gusts up to 120, and our pressure has risen slightly over the past few hours to 992 hectopascal. The National Weather Service in Guam has issued a tropical storm warning for Guam, Rota, Tinian, and Saipan this evening. As of 3 p.m., the government of Guam has also issued Tropical Cyclone Condition of Readiness 1. A couple of items of note with this. Going to see some strong gusty winds. This is mostly for, or the biggest threat rather, is going to be for Tinian and Saipan this evening, where you can see winds 65 kilometers per hour gusting up to 100. Going to be a little bit lighter as you make your way further south toward Rota and Guam. Seas are going to be a concern if you're out. You shouldn't be out boating, but if you know the waters around the islands are going to be pretty rough. Looking at about 4.5 to 5.5 meter waves there. Storm surge, that's also going to be a challenge. Up toward Tinian and Saipan, you could see 60 to 90 centimeter surge there. More like 30 to 60 as you're down toward Guam and Rota. And then rainfall is going to be another factor with this. Not too bad for Rota. Rota and Guam, where you could see about 1 to 2 centimeters. But as we get up to Tinian and Saipan, 10 to 20 centimeters is definitely in the forecast there, so you could see some flooding concerns in around those islands. Here's the latest radar imagery out of Andersen Air Force Base. Do you see those showers moving across the islands today? Nothing particularly strong, but it's going to be pretty steady rain, enough to pick up that precipitation. Now zooming out, looking at the wide shot here. Really no significant change to what we've been talking about the past few days with this storm. Continuing to move across Tinian and Saipan this evening. Notice the strong outflow off to the north as the southerly winds here. This is what's shearing the system apart. They wrap around and then get picked up by the jet stream. Pretty strong jet stream across the north at about 120 knots. Also of note, up to the north, between the islands and Japan, strong area of high pressure. That's again going to keep this system moving off to the west over the next few days. Here's the surface analysis from JMA. Again, really not a whole lot of discussion or change rather to the track. Again, keeping it off toward the west. The only concern is as we get closer to the end of next week, toward Friday, Saturday time frame, there's a little bit of debate on whether a bit of a recurve occurs, and that's as the storm is rounding the southwestern periphery of this subtropical ridge. The big story is going to be the intensity. With the amount of shear out there, I don't anticipate any strengthening. Matter of fact, none of the agencies are really going for it, and rather they're going for slight weakening over the next few days. That's thanks to the increased wind shear coupled with a little bit cooler water temperatures, or what we'd normally expect, as well as some confluence aloft that's going to inhibit any sort of strengthening. So really shouldn't be that big of a player as we go over the next few days. Should continue to fizzle out. Here's the forecast track from JMA. Again, keeping it on a westerly track now. They are the more northerly of the tracks this evening. By the time it gets toward the Philippines, this is by the end of the week, it slows the system down and then starts to shift it off to the northwest, becoming more of a focus toward the Cagayan Valley. Now, all the agencies are pretty much talking about this system being a tropical depression, if it's even a tropical cyclone at this point. JTWC, on the other hand, they keep it almost due west, barely a tropical depression at this point. But because they're further south, now central Luzon, Calabarzon, you're more under the threat. Bottom line, anybody, because there is this variance out there, and there are some, we're talking day 5 and 6 here. Anybody along the eastern shores of Luzon and the Visayas should continue to monitor the progress of the storm. I'm not anticipating a very strong system by any means. Some gusty winds out of this. The real threat is going to be some heavy rains as the system passes through. Now, we've been talking about wind shear. Here's the GFS analysis from 4/12 Zulu tonight. And you can see significant amount of wind shear with this system. Highlighted in green, this is the 30 knot ice attack, and so you can see a lot of shear out ahead of this system. 30 knots or anything stronger than that really does not help support tropical cyclone development. Now, as we go through the next few days, this is Monday evening, much of the same. Okay, it weakens up a little bit, but this is still a significant amount of wind shear for this system. And then by Tuesday, really intensifies again as it gets into the Philippine area of responsibility. Starting to see wind shear values of 40-50 knots. And then by Wednesday evening, granted, the shear abates a little bit, but at this point, the system is pretty weak. Definitely looking at a tropical depression by this time. Now, looking at surface plots in and around the area right now, the focus is on Tinian and Saipan, where they are getting a lot of the rain currently. Taking a look at the current conditions out of Saipan. Light rain, not really a heavy rainmaker by any means. This is just going to be a persistent rain. But look at the winds here. Gusts up to 81 kilometers per hour there at Saipan International. Out toward Guam, not raining there. Got a little bit of mist in the air, light fog. That's reducing your visibility down to about 5 kilometers. Winds there still gusty though, up to 76 kilometers per hour. You can get this as well as other analysis over at westernpacificweather.com. You can also follow along on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day and take care.